Have you ever wondered how the much dreaded telemarketers get your phone number, pestering you with products that you won't even be remotely interested in? Well, one of the ways could be through the information that banks send to various associates for purposes such as printing and publishing without appropriate access controls. Looking at such a scenario from an enterprise perspective, securing confidential customer information and ensuring that it is not misused becomes a priority, and the management has to take necessary technology steps to keep in tune with these happenings. Keeping customer and company data secure is an unspelled commandment when it comes to banking, and HDFC Bank has surely followed it religiously with the deployment of InfoSource, a secure offering. Known for being forward-looking and an enthusiastic adopter of technology, let's get a feel of why the technology was upped with this deployment, keeping in mind the gamut of challenges that it was facing while trying to prevent unauthorized use of data and information. And here's Vishal Salvi telling us how.
One of the challenges which we were facing there was, we send our customer data to some of our business partners to do some processing, post which it is distributed to our customers. Say for example statements, and how do we ensure that if it's only the application which is processing at the customers at the business process provider's end, then how do you ensure that it is not tampered with, and how do you ensure that if the processor who is actually handling that information, who doesn't need to look at it but he just needs to just process it, how do you ensure that he doesn't see it, he doesn't tamper with it? So that was our biggest challenge.
In case of HDFC, the couple of challenges that were unique to the bank was simply the size of the operation. So the bank has many outsourcing partners, and to start with, figuring out what information is going to which outsourcing partner and whether it is information that needs to be protected at all was something that was a challenge.
With the advantage of being a seamless solution to integrate, let's see what the implementation journey was like.
It's a fairly small integration activity. It's not a core banking application or a major change in the infrastructure. So although yes, from a vendor application perspective, it may be seen as a medium level change. So we had obviously interacted, and we had engaged with our third party business partner who was engaged with Seclore to have that integration efforts done. In my mind, that change went fairly smoothly and successfully. It had the solution that we were looking for in terms of compatibility, getting it implemented at a vendor application, because we wanted, we were actually asking vendor to integrate it in their application rather than ours. So all those requirements were achieved.
With features such as stringent access and authorization rights, let's see how InfoSource functions, making it truly the solution of choice.
It's a fairly straightforward application, where it encrypts the information that you want to protect, and there are keys which are shared and implemented at the vendor application, and the handshake happens at the application level. So once the information goes, because it is integrated with the application, all throughout, and our use case was that the data need not be seen by anybody. It has to be only opened by the application. So it's integrated with that, and as soon as the application application process starts, it is able to use the keys to open the information and processes, and then the future use of that data happens. And in this case, after the processing, actually the email statements are consolidated and sent to our customer.
InfoSource is a specialist information security system for outsourcing operations. The way it works is that whenever enterprises are outsourcing, and in that process sharing confidential information or customer data with their outsourcing partners, InfoSource helps in making sure that the data is under the control of the enterprise and follows the enterprise's information security policy and not the vendor. The way it is implemented is that data which is sent across is configured, is encrypted, and is configured for specific kinds of usage, which could mean restricting the computers or the physical infrastructure on which that information could be used, restricting users, restricting the times that it can be used. So you could say this information can only be used once. Restricting the kind of uses that information could be put to. So for example, for a statement printing kind of operation, you could say this information can only be printed once, or it could be used only within the next 2 days, and so on. So there are different kinds of rights and permissions which could be set on that information.
Looks like Infosys has definitely eased things for HDFC with having numerous checks in place. Let's see what benefits it has brought to the bank.
The benefits is the comfort that we get, that our information is safe end to end. I think that's one of the key things that we wanted to achieve, and I think we have achieved that objective by having this system in place. It's really in today's world, where the organization boundaries are disappearing. We are dependent on different business providers to process our customer information. Now, if given that requirement, we still want to control how that information is used and processed by the service providers.
Customer confidential information which would have otherwise left the organization without any controls on it is now getting protected with rights and policies which are defined by HDFC Bank. So I'll take one example where information which is sent to agencies which help the bank in customer communication, bill printing, statement printing kind of work, is now protected such that the information can only be printed once, could only be used once, and it self-destructs after 2 days. So in this manner, the bank is able to protect the usage of this information during those 2 days, and also make sure that beyond those 2 days, it doesn't have to worry about where this information is, who all has access to it, and so on.
Information security has always held high importance at HDFC. Let's see what the bank has on the cards for information security in the months to come.
We have that 3-prong agenda, in terms of focusing on the policy and governance, and we feel strongly that we have a good foundation there. We have multiple projects which are running in terms of online banking. I just talked about. That's going to be always our focus, and we'll continuously ensure that we have the right controls and right safeguards in place to protect ourselves from the emerging threats, and obviously constant testing and enforcement of our policies and processes, and looking at the new risks which are emanating, new vulnerabilities which are emanating out of that, and having a right program to drive its implementation.